Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering tips for publishing a book in 2026. How is it 2026 already? I have no idea, but at the same time, the start of a new year is such an important opportunity for us to think about the things that we want to accomplish, the goals, the resolutions, and if you want to publish your book in 2026, definitely pay attention to the tips and lessons in this video. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to pick the right publishing path, how to do your research, and what it means to trust the process. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. I think it's awesome that you want to publish a book, and I think it's so meaningful when you set goals for yourself of, I want the book out now. I want the book out this year. We can set good goals like that for ourselves. If those goals don't end up happening, if it takes a little bit longer, so be it. I don't want you to lose momentum or focus or faith in your book. I just want you to think of it in terms of setting a good course for yourself and seeing where it leads. The first tip I want you to consider is picking the right publishing path for yourself. There's really there's multiple, but there's really two different main publishing options, which is traditional, which involves an agent and a publisher and getting them to sign off on the project. And there's also self-publishing, which means you're guiding the process, and really kind of setting the parameters for your book's publication. There's also hybrid models that, share elements of traditional and self-publishing. But for the sake of this argument, let's focus on those two options. If you are interested in traditionally publishing your book, you've already taken too long to publish your book in 2026. Your book is probably going to come out in 2027 or 2028, even if you get a quick sale with the publisher. The traditional publishing process takes time. And basically, you get put on a conveyor belt. It could take 9, 12, 15, 18 months, even 24 months in some cases, before your book is out in the world. So if you want to move quickly and get your book live and published in 2026, your best bet is to self-publish because there's no waiting, there's no conveyor belt. You simply choose the steps that you want to take and get to pick a publishing timeline and get to pick a publication date and move forward empowered. So if you're interested in moving forward quickly, self-publishing is the better way to go. Another thing I want you to keep in mind is doing your research. How does your book stand up against other books in your space? How is it different from every other book that's been put out there? It's so important to really think about what makes your book unique and different. Because if your book is not unique and different, it's going to be really difficult to stand out, to really find, a momentum. If your book doesn't stand out and it's not different, if your book is not unique and different, it's going to be really tough to stand out. It's really going to be tough to stand out in your space. So really think about what makes your book unique and different. What sets it apart from other popular books kind of like yours? It's so special to be able to see the nuances and see how your book is uniquely different from every other book that's ever been published. If you can't explain that in a sentence, you have a problem, because then people are just going to default to the more popular books. They're not going to look at yours. By doing your research, I also mean thinking about how other books in your space are written, how they are constructed, the kind of paper stock, the kind of cover, the sizing. There's all these little things that go into publishing your book that are often overlooked, and yet you can immediately tell when a book is a low quality product if it has certain parameters. So it's important to really think about how your book stands out, how it stands up against the space. You want to really fit the parameters of the genre that you're writing in. You want your book to be like the other books, even if it's different from the other books. The price point should be in line. You don't want your book to be $20 more expensive than all the other books in your space and try to convince people, oh, this is a better book. No, they're going to buy the other big popular book instead of yours. So all these things go into play. Are publishers or different professionals working on these other specific books, and you want to work with people like them. Do your research to find people to work with. For example, I'm on this marketplace called Reedsy.com. I actually am a professional on that space. They take 2 or 3% of the people who apply, and there you can find editors, ghostwriters, writing coaches, book designers, cover designers, layout, book promoters. There's all these different people on that site, it's a marketplace for professionals. So if you're interested in having a professionally looking book, you'll want to work with professional people who know how to do that. When thinking about the path to publication, be realistic. How long is this book going to take? The book's not going to take as long if you have the writing done. If you're still doing the writing, it's going to take a long time. It could take a while. It could take a couple months. It could take a couple years, depending on the process. And from there, I always think about 3 to 6 months from the time the draft is complete to the time the book is in somebody's hands. So map that out. And there's a reason why the steps take a little while. You're thinking about developmental or content editing, the 30,000-foot view. You're thinking of copy editing, the sentence and paragraph level. There's proofreading, kind of the safety net. So there's 3 rounds of editing. All of those rounds are going to take time. Maybe they take 3 weeks, maybe they take a month, 2 weeks, whatever the case may be. You're looking at least a couple months in editing, just in looking at the words and refining them. The layout takes time. Layout takes at least a couple weeks to a month. The cover design takes time. The cover design can happen independently, but at the same time, you want it to happen within the flow of all these other things. So all of these steps take time, and they require you to kind of pass these different gates and make your book as strong as possible. You don't want to publish a book only to have people bring up all the problems that professionals could have brought up beforehand. You don't want to have people ding your book online and say, this book could have been better, it had all these mistakes. Oh, the layout was sloppy, the pages were a mess. You don't want them to say those things. You want them to say, this book was amazing and it changed my life. It moved me. I was really empowered to read this. I'm handing out to all my friends. That's what you want people to say. You don't want them to say, it was good, I liked it, but there was a lot of spelling mistakes, or the story wasn't good and I stopped reading it 40 pages in, I didn't love it. So do the work, trust the process, and work with people who can help you on those steps. Because ultimately with books, you don't know what you don't know. There's a huge learning curve with books. Because of that learning curve, there's a lot of scammers out there. There's people who are trying to take advantage of you. There's these soup to nuts book companies that will help you all along the way. You come in with an idea and we'll give you a finished book and we'll help you promote it. What are you actually paying for with these companies? What are the services that you are paying for? Because you can go on marketplaces like Readsy, get the professional specific work, or find somebody on LinkedIn, get the specific professional work that these people do, like cover design, and that's it. You're paying specifically for that thing. So these companies exist to give people peace of mind that they don't have to think deeply about any of these steps, but there's money being lost at every turn, and a lot of times people end up paying for marketing and other services that aren't part of their book. And I'm talking about marketing for the company. The company takes money aside from the authors they work with to spend money to get more people to sign up with them. So when you go to Google, they're one of the first people that show up. So, and this model is, there's some companies that are better than others, but ultimately these companies are focused on making money. If they weren't focused on making money, they wouldn't exist, So they're interested in helping you, yes, but at the same time, your money could be better spent elsewhere. So when you're thinking about getting all these services done, work with professionals and kind of really dig deep before you really think about signing up with any of these companies, because most likely at least some of your money is going to things that aren't related to your book at all, or things that you don't need. When thinking about your book, I want you to focus on connecting your book's message to your other offerings. What are you trying to accomplish? A lot of times people think, I'm just going to sell a bunch of copies of my book. Please don't do that. It's a bad idea. It's not going to be successful. I've worked with authors who are focused on selling as many copies as they could. Most books don't sell 500 copies. Even fewer sell 1,000. I've had a handful of books I've worked on that have sold thousands or tens of thousands of books. Most of the books I've worked on have not sold 500 copies. It's not about volume, it's about quality. It's about getting the book in the people's hands that are going to do something, that are going to take action, the people that need to read this book the most. If you are a business owner who sells high-cost services and you can get the book into a reader's hands who's interested in being a client of yours, and they're going to pay you $50 or $100 or $200,000, that's a win. That's what you're focused on with books. Obviously, that's not the only thing you want to accomplish, but think about it in terms of your deeper goals and be honest, embrace those things. If your interest is getting people through your funnel to want to work with you so you can sell them high value services, great, do that. Write the book that's going to get them to take that journey. You know, it's not just about money though, it's about purpose. What is your purpose? Your purpose could be something as important as just wanting to tell this story. If you want to tell the story, tell the story. You know, if you want to establish yourself as a thought leader, tell the story. Think about it with that end goal in mind and write the book that's going to help you accomplish that. When you're guided by purpose, you're going to spend the time and effort to get it right because you have this deeper goal. You have this North Star in mind. This isn't about rushing, it's about doing it right because you have this end goal in mind. So when you're thinking about publishing, tap into your purpose and take the time to do it right. Because you only get one chance. You only get one chance until that book is out. Yes, you can make changes later, but it takes time to take effect. You know, and there's going to be people out there with the wrong book, with an incorrect book, with an error-filled book. Take the time to do it right. Take the time to get it right. And take the time because you only have that one time to make that first impression. Ultimately, stay patient. Again, if it doesn't happen this year, that's okay. Don't look at that as a failure. Keep motivated to keep going. You know, stay in that mindset of wanting that end goal, of wanting the book published because of blank. You know, because you want to take the next step in your career and you want to establish yourself as a thought leader and get better speaking engagements and interview opportunities. You want to document a family story, you know. Whatever the case may be, recognize that it's going to take longer and be more frustrating and difficult than you anticipated probably. And at the same time, even though it's frustrating and difficult and time consuming, the ends justify the means. The juice is worth the squeeze. This stuff is so important, it's life-altering when you can write your book and share your message. You know, but you want to feel empowered through that. You want to feel like this was your best effort. You don't want to feel like, oh, I wish I had done differently. I wish I had gotten a better editor. I wish I would have taken the time. No one's like, oh, I wish I would have rushed the book out, you know? It's not really a common thing. You know, yes, you can sometimes focus on like a quick window to get some sales, but like what's the bigger goal at the end? If your goal is just to sell a bunch of copies in a little narrow amount of time, that's not a good goal. Like I want you to focus on a book that's going to empower you and that's going to feel awesome for you and make you proud to hand it to people. Say, I wrote this, I think you're going to really learn from that. So take the time, be patient. You know, it's not always that this book is going to be published this year, but just keep making consistent, steady progress and work with good people and good things are going to happen. To learn more about tips for publishing a book in 2026, you know, I'd love to have a conversation. I'd love to talk one-on-one. Head to my website. It's goodbookhelp.com. You can click the link below. Schedule a one-on-one strategy call with me. I would love to talk further, hear more about your story. I can provide some insight and guidance as to, you know, what path you might be looking at for publishing your book and offer some tips on how to empower you on the journey. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.